Coming up on BCN today. With just over a week to go before elections, Lethbridge holds another all-candidates forum. Plus, a pro-life group takes the city of Lethbridge to court over ads pulled from bus benches. And another Lethbridge restaurant in a Lethbridge landmark closes down.
Your Canada. Your Southern Alberta. Your stories. From our studios in the heart of Lethbridge, it's BCN Today with Jeanette Roche.
Hello, and thank you for joining us on this Friday. We begin today with a breaking story. We're being told that a train has derailed on Highway 3 between Tabor and Coaldale. It appears that crews are working to remove it from the track. No word yet on whether it was blocking traffic, but we're told that speed was reduced on Highway 3. We'll keep you updated on our social media accounts about that. Another all-candidates forum took place last night at the main branch of the Lethbridge Public Library. The federal election is now just over 1 week away. All the local candidates were there to answer questions from concerned members of the public. BCN's Loris Alexander tells us more.
Federal election candidates in Lethbridge squared off once again at a forum hosted by the Lethbridge Public Library Thursday evening. All 6 candidates were in attendance answering questions on a range of topics.
We need a Prime Minister at the helm who is able to extend a hand across to China and build strong diplomatic relationships and be able to negotiate trade once again. But in addition to that, there's opportunity to open other trade markets. For example, we can pursue trade with places like Indonesia, Malaysia, South Korea, and so we need to look at advancing ourselves in that global market as well.
We would like to see a system where every life is valued, and that means caring for certainly women as well who are in crisis pregnancies. We need that whole network of supports through civil society organizations, through individuals, but there is another human involved, and that's often what's missed in this debate.
I know that we've all been watching the climate strikes that have been happening around the world. We've seen that our young people have a vision for where they want the future to go. They are intelligent, they are articulate, and their voices deserve to be heard. So one of the things that I have had the most joy in talking about is telling these young people that the NDP want to lower the voting age to 16. You are able to drive, you're working, you're paying taxes. This election, the choices that we're making, they impact your future. Your voice deserves to be heard.
We have incredibly educated people here in Lethbridge, and we have amazing opportunity as a mid-sized city to seize the opportunity for economic diversification, to work with employers, to expand the opportunities for talent to stay here. I want to be a champion for that message.
The forum also included a number of questions from the audience. Reactions to the event was positive, with the crowd taking the time to applaud each candidate no matter their political leaning. For Bridge City News, I'm Loris Alexander.
Thank you, Loris. For those of you who may not be around on Election Day, or if you just want to get a jump on the polls, advance voting begins today and continues all through the long weekend, including Thanksgiving Monday. Advance polls are open across the country from 9 a.m. till 9 p.m. local time. You can only vote at your assigned polling station, though. This is different from the process in some provincial elections where you can vote at any polling station. You can find the address of your assigned polling station on the back of your voter information card, or by visiting elections.ca, or by calling 1-800-463-6868. And by the way, you can join us for our live federal election coverage on October 21st at 7 p.m. We will profile the federal and local candidates and have live results for you as they come in. Don't miss Your Vote 2019, October 21st at 7 p.m. right here on Bridge City News. There's another battle taking place, but this one is in court between Lethbridge District Pro-Life and the City of Lethbridge. It all stems from anti-abortion ads that were pulled from transit buses, bus shelters, and benches in 2018. Ainsley O'Reilly was at the courthouse with the details.
The judge said Thursday morning that this case refers to the most fundamental parts of our democracy. Lethbridge and District Pro-Life says that they were challenged of the fundamental rights and freedoms located in the Canadian Charter. The city, on the other hand, says that they were simply following protocol based on codes set by the advertisers. We've only heard from Lethbridge and District Pro-Life's attorney, Croson, this morning, and she says that Lethbridge as a city is required to remain unbiased. The city of Lethbridge says that these benches cause distress and harm to its citizens. Croson argues that there is no evidence of that.
Thank you, Ainsley. The Watertower Grill on Mayor McGrath Drive in Lethbridge is officially closing down today. The reports say that staff were notified that the restaurant would be shutting down after dinner service. In total, 20 people will be losing their jobs. The business is owned by Vintage Group in Calgary, and it underwent major renovations in 2018. We caught up with the president of Vintage Group that manages the restaurant, Lance Hurtubus.
We never made a profit is the bottom line. It's a new economy. It's a new world out there. We underestimated the market. We thought we could draw in the locals, which we needed, but we became more of a tourist destination and a specialty occasion restaurant.
The Vintage Group also owns 10 restaurants in Calgary. The Watertower Grill becomes the latest restaurant venture to shut down at the prominent location here in Lethbridge. Lethbridge firefighters are investigating the cause of a blaze after responding to a house fire on Lettuce Perry Road in Legacy Park early Thursday morning. When they arrived, they saw flames coming from a garage. The fire quickly spread to another garage, vehicles, and a house.
At around 3 o'clock this morning, we had several call-ins on 911 about a house fire. As you can see the property behind us, the fire appeared to start in the area here of the garage. We are investigating that right now. There was significant damage to the garage on each side of the main structure, and there's damage to all the surrounding homes from the heat, the radiant heat melting vinyl and stuff like that. But the majority of the damage is the main house and the garage.
My boyfriend just got off of night shift, and he gave me a call and said that he had seen some smoke from the garage, so he had called 911. So then he waited until the police had came. So the police had came, they did a knock on the door and then tried to break the door down, because obviously I think there's people that were sleeping inside. And so then that's when the fire trucks and everything came, and then he woke me up, so I came outside and seen that the garage was fully engulfed in flames, and it didn't take long for the house to start too.
21 firefighters from 4 stations worked to put out the blaze. Fortunately, there were no injuries. And speaking of fires, it is still Fire Prevention Week here in Lethbridge. Not every hero wears a cape. Plan and practice your escape. That's the motto of this year's campaign. In recognition of this special week, Lethbridge Fire and Emergency Services hosted the Community Heroes Awards at City Hall. BCN's Loris Alexander was there and filed this report.
A special day for the city of Lethbridge as 27 people were honored for their acts of bravery. The youngest recipient being Rachel Newfield for getting her 3 younger siblings out of their burning house safely.
In my window, I saw a strange orange glowing light. So I opened my curtain and I looked out and I saw the garage engulfed in flames. For a minute, I paused to think about what to do. And when I left my room, I saw my mom coming inside. She was on the phone, and I asked her what I could do to help. She said to get my 3 siblings out of the house.
Mayor Chris Spearman boasted about the citizens of Lethbridge who were resilient in times of adversity.
These people are proof that Lethbridge is a city who cares. They're living examples of those who look out for others in our city, and when something's happening, they don't stand by, they take action.
People need to have training to be able to help each other, whether it's your family member or whether it's your neighbor or whether it's a child at the schoolyard. It's good to have some training, basic CPR, basic first aid training, to be able to help someone. It's just for me, I think that that's a valid piece that all of us should have in our lives.
Wise words from Lethbridge's Fire Chief Mark Rothwell, who stresses the importance for citizens to know how to do CPR, administer naloxone, and just generally know how to act in the state of an emergency. For more information on this year's fire prevention campaign, Not Every Hero Wears a Cape, Plan and Practice Your Escape, please visit firepreventionweek.org. For Bridge City News, I'm Loris Alexander.
Calgary police are searching for a third suspect following a home invasion early Thursday morning in northeast Calgary. When they arrived on scene, they saw 3 armed suspects fleeing the home. Shots were exchanged between police and the suspects. 2 suspects have now been arrested, and they are still looking for a third. Alberta's transportation minister says some transport truck drivers will be permanently exempt from new training standards announced in the wake of the Humboldt Broncos bus crash that killed 16 people and injured 13 others. Rick McIver says the exemption is only for drivers with clean driving records. The April 2018 Humboldt crash was caused when an inexperienced truck driver from Alberta blew through a stop sign at an intersection. The storm that has knocked out power of thousands of people in southern Manitoba and forced some schools to close is creating even more of a headache for farmers. Crops that were drenched with rain last month are now being hammered by nature again. Last week's crop report said only 14% of the province's 1.5 million acres of soybeans had been harvested. Typically, the soybean crop would be mostly off the fields by now. Potato and corn growers are also being affected by too much moisture and cooler temperatures. An important event for farmers and ranchers who have livestock took place at Exhibition Park this week.
This has been a very successful event. This is the Alberta Livestock Expo's 3rd year, and in our 3 years we've almost doubled in booth sizes, and we have a great showing of attendees every year as well. The Alberta Livestock Expo has exhibitors from all over Canada. We have exhibitors from Saskatchewan, Manitoba, BC, right here in Alberta, of course, right across the globe, Ontario as well. And we have a variety of exhibitors who focus in all areas of agriculture.
As part of the Livestock Expo, funds were also raised for Ronald McDonald Charities. According to Stats Canada, a Chinese ban on Canadian meat could affect over a fifth of the pork that we export to China. That ban has had an impact on local producers.
The American trade war with China has resulted in our price, because since we are based off of an American price, our price has dropped significantly, and the American administration has been subsidizing their producers. It was $8 per pig US in 2018 and $11 per pig US in 2019. And we haven't got anything from our federal government in response. Therefore, it's putting us on a negative playing field. And when the Chinese were coming to us for pork because the tariffs that were in place with the Americans recognized that, and they, from what most people believe, got us embroiled in a dispute with China, resulting in our borders being closed, therefore taking away the competitive edge that the packers had in Canada to move our pork to China.
The suspension also comes at a time when China's own pork industry is taking a huge hit from African swine fever, which has affected Asia and parts of Europe. Shauna Pinay came from being on the streets for 14 years, doing whatever it took to get drugs and alcohol. But she turned her life around and now works with Streets Alive. On Thursday at SACPA, she spoke about her journey to sobriety.
Being homeless, drug addicted, alcohol addicted, having absolutely nothing, losing everything, my family, my friends, to actually going into housing through Streets Alive at the women's program and being able to start learning to live again and going through programs and stuff like that, and having a safe place to live, a warm bed, a refrigerator I could go out and get some food and be able to open it and eat and stuff like that. And for somebody like me, that meant a lot to me. If there wasn't the people that were out there for me when I walked through those doors, to be able, that gave me a hug when I was all dirty and messy and drunk, who gave me just compassionate and just sat and they listened to me. That's what they need. They don't need to be judged. They don't need to be put down anymore. What they need is somebody to tell them it's going to be okay and that there is help out there.
Shauna is the Assistant Director of the Streets Alive Genesis program, where she works with women in need, bringing them into recovery, helping to establish change. NDP leader Jagjit Singh released his platform Cost this morning, and it shows the party has no plan to return to balanced books. It proposes running a deficit of $32.7 billion next year. The largest new spending promises include $10 billion for pharmacare, while Singh says revenue would largely come from businesses and wealthy Canadians. Conservative leader Andrew Scheer is going to announce his party's full platform later today in BC. Meanwhile, Liberal leader Justin Trudeau rallied supporters in Ottawa this morning and is now taking his campaign to the Vancouver area. The final officials leader debate is in the books. The 6 main party leaders duked it out again last night, this time in French at the Canadian Museum of History in Gatineau, Quebec. The group argued over a wide range of subjects, including budgets, climate change, and the seemingly rise in popularity of the Bloc Québécois.
We are focused on winning a majority government because we know that in order to move forward with a climate change plan that pushes back against those conservative premiers like Jason Kenney and Doug Ford who want to do nothing, we need a strong and clear mandate from Canadians. That's exactly what we're hoping to get in 10 days.
When you speak to Mr. Harper, he says that voting for the Bloc is a vote for Liberals. And if you speak to Liberals, they will say that voting for the Bloc is voting for the Conservatives. And you know what? Voting for the Bloc is voting for the Bloc. Is voting for what we carry, what we share, what we want, what we propose. And for a large part of our program and the way we carry what l'Assemblée nationale du Québec asks, voting for the Bloc might be voting for Quebec.
So I made it really clear our 6 priorities. And that includes making sure we work on the environment, making sure that we tackle the environmental crisis. That's something that's really important to me. And that means reducing our emissions and ending fossil fuel subsidies. So that's going to be absolutely a part of our serious discussions we're going to have in order for us to move ahead with anyone. What we made really clear is the environment's a priority. I am opposed to the Trans Mountain Pipeline, and I made that very clear.
My experience, which is one that is drawn from colleagues around the world and Green parties around the world, is that when you negotiate in a majority parliament, you find that parties that quite firmly held to one view during an election become far more malleable when they're trying to form government. So I don't take anything as firm and rigid. That said, I have to say the chances of Mr. Scheer offering more action on climate than other possible parties in the next parliament are, rather small. But the process of negotiation is that you talk to everybody.
What I know is that our entire team is excited for the election of October 21st. We've got great candidates all throughout the country who are working hard to replace Justin Trudeau and his record of massive deficits, tax hikes and scandals with a Conservative Party under my leadership that will lower taxes, make life more affordable, and run an ethical and transparent government.
But Conservatives seem to have a fallback plan if you don't win.
I completely reject the premise of that. We're going to win on October 21st.
The European Union and the United Kingdom have agreed to intensify Brexit negotiations. The new push follows yesterday's constructive lunch meeting between British Prime Minister Boris Johnson and Irish Prime Minister Leo Varadkar. It's a belated attempt to reach a separation deal ahead of October 31st, when Britain is scheduled to leave the bloc. Rugby World Cup matches set for tomorrow have been canceled as a powerful typhoon heads for the Tokyo area and Japan's Pacific coast. The storm is forecast to bring up to 80 centimeters of rain and damaging winds. Forecasters say Typhoon Hagibis resembles a typhoon that hit the Tokyo region in 1958 that killed more than 1,200 people and flooded 500,000 houses. Close to 2 million people remain without power in California as a precaution against wildfires. The state's largest utility pulled the plug to prevent a repeat of the past 2 years when wind-blown power lines sparked deadly wildfires. The blackout affects mostly Northern California and parts of the San Francisco Bay Area. Not much wind in the forecast today and clear skies ahead for the next couple days as we go into the long weekend. Complete details are coming up after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back, and here are your weather highlights for Lethbridge today and tomorrow. Clear skies are in the forecast. Look at all that sunshine. High of 7 degrees today and a low going down to -8. Sunshine as well tomorrow, high of +9 and a low of -3. Not too bad, loving that sunshine. Coming up for the weekend, we got some scattered clouds there, a mix of sun and cloud. High of 13 degrees on Sunday, high of 6 degrees on Monday, Thanksgiving Day. Mix of sun and cloud in the sky there as well. Tuesday, Wednesday, lots of sunshine back in the forecast, and look at those temperatures coming back at us there. 14 degrees on Tuesday, 19 on Wednesday, and going back up to 17 degrees later on in the week. Almanac says that the average high this time of year is 16 degrees. The average low is 1 degree. The highest temperature in this day was back in 1991. It was 30 degrees. The lowest temperature was -10 in 2002. The sun rose this morning at 7:42 a.m. and will be setting this evening at 6:50 p.m. Going over to our national forecast over on the west coast, BC, looks like Victoria, Vancouver are both going to see lots of sunshine. 14 degrees in Victoria, 15-degree high in Vancouver, 8 degrees up in Edmonton, tons of sunshine there. Also clear skies in Calgary with a high of +8. Over in the prairies, sunshine, tons of sunshine in Saskatchewan there. Saskatoon, high of 5. Regina, high of +4. But over in Winnipeg, a much different story as there's flurries. There's actually a chance of snowstorm there. We're being told that schools have closed as well. High of +1 over there. But over in the east, look at all that sunshine. Once again, highs of 18 in Ottawa and Toronto. High of 17 over in Montreal. Must be nice to be over there. Over in the Maritimes, Fredericton, 16-degree high with mix of sun and cloud. Mix of sun and cloud also in Charlottetown, high of 14 degrees. Precipitation, we got some showers happening in Halifax with a high of 14 degrees. But lots of sunshine again over in St. John's, Newfoundland with a high of 13 degrees. That's your weather. Here's a look at what's happening in your community.
Here's your Bridge City News Community Calendar. The United Way Coats for Kids and Families campaign continues until October 31st, accepting new and gently used winter wear for families in need in the community. Accepted items include new or gently used coats, mittens, scarves, snow pants, snow boots, and new hats and toques. Items can be dropped off at United Way and any Lethbridge TD Canada Trust or ATB financial branch. For more information, call 403-327-1700. Come out and support a worthy cause. The Blue Rain Ranch Animal Assisted Therapy Foundation Benefit Dinner and Auction is taking place on Saturday, October 19th at the Community Hall in Fort Macleod, with cocktails being served at 5:30 p.m. and dinner beginning at 6. Come dressed in your best Western wear and enjoy live music by Duo Grand Fiddle and Guitar. All proceeds to support access for low-income trauma and abuse victims to counseling and animal-assisted therapy. For tickets, call 403-894-9160, and for event details, visit bridgesofhope.com. Big Brothers Big Sisters in Lethbridge is searching for volunteers to mentor children and youth in their various programs. Volunteers commit anywhere from 1 hour a week to 1 full year. They have many kids on their wait list that are looking for a big brother or sister. Make a difference in a child's life and start something big. For more information, call 403-328-9355 or email info.leth@bigbrothersbigsisters.ca. And that's your Bridge City News Community Calendar.
Today's daily life hack will benefit everyone who gets an irritated throat at this time of year. That's basically all of us. If you have a sore throat, try eating a piece of cucumber. It cools down your throat and stops the itching. And that's been today's daily life hack. Is cursive writing a dying skill? Some educators say that for many years, grade school students have not been learning how to write in connective script, also known as handwriting or cursive. In fact, they're only learning how to print words and to type. Why? Because of the age of keyboards, tablets, and other electronic devices. Schools have stopped teaching how to teach kids how to handwrite a letter. But we're being told now that this has actually done harm to the learning process in the brain. We spoke with a University of Calgary professor who's done extensive research on the topic, particularly with grade 4 students. And she says cursive handwriting, not just printing, is essential for early literacy education and must again be part of the curriculum. Here's why.
We noticed that more than half of the writing samples didn't demonstrate the level of fluency and flow that we knew would allow those students to unleash or unlock cognitive language or academic language. We'd measured that, so I know the words are there, but they're not able to access and retrieve them because I think their hand is too belabored. I think it's, if I could draw an analogy to playing the piano, you're laying down the neuronal connections that allow you to become fluid and fluent in your motion to the page, and that unloads cognitive load on the brain. It means you're opening up working memory space to do other tasks of generating text, like looking for good vocabulary or organizing your thoughts on the page or revising and rethinking what you're doing.
She says it takes less effort to write than to print. So in other words, the less you have to work to physically put words on a page, like with connective script, the more you're opening up your creative juices to be a better writer. Arches, the supervised consumption and injection site, has caused a lot of tension in the community. But amid the contention exists a program that is giving young musicians a voice. Video journalist Naveen Day has more on the Arches Mic Club.
Inside a small office at the building occupied by Arches sits a recording studio that gives young musicians an opportunity to drop their beats. We run in and out of these storms. Mic Club, which is a daily drop-in offered by Arches' Hip Hop for Healing program, was introduced by a sound engineer who was working at the site and saw an opportunity to connect with the community.
Basically, Mic Club started after I had been working here doing harm reduction for 6 months up front, and I kind of realized that it was hip-hop that I was connecting mostly with people.
The program has also inspired local musicians not only to stay off drugs, but also to give back to their community.
These kids, they do come out and they come there and they're given an opportunity and a chance to work on any beats. We get up to 800 beats, and we just give them a place to, find them a beat and work with them, try to help them the best way we can.
Manning says the feedback has been positive and powerful.
We hear a lot of feedback from the clients, things along the lines of like, oh, I used to enjoy rapping, or I used to be able to record with my friends until X, Y, or Z happened. And, we've seen guys actually like shed tears of joy after hearing themselves recorded because it is such a powerful thing to be able to once again be able to pursue that dream of being able to make a career out of music.
Bridge City News at 5 p.m. and 11 p.m. is taking the evening off, but we'll be back again on Tuesday. But coming up after our break in the second half of our show, Kyla Lee is a criminal defense lawyer in Vancouver. She recently stopped by our studio to discuss distracted driving laws and how the law differs between provinces. That's coming up in the second half of our show. Stay with us.